Hey, Veronica, how you doing? Can you hear? Can you hear me? Veronica, can you hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Naomi.
I just sent you
Hello.
some metal sculptures, stand photoed. Did you look at it?
I
He
did.
sent it about 15.
Yeah, I did.
50, yeah, that is some metal sculptures that I bought.
Oh,
The
you bought?
chicken. What?
You bought them. You didn't make.
I bought. No, of course I didn't make them, but I'm saying some men could make that. I think they're metal. They were made out of metal scraps.
Yeah, some women could make it too.
Right.
Not this woman.
Oh, why not?
No. But it's just.
Yeah.
I wanted you to see it.
Yeah. Well, everybody else will see it too, so
Yeah.
so we can talk about them. But but you could make those too, Naomi.
I don't know what tools he used to make that.
Well, a lot of it was just found parts that were fit together, so you'd need some kind of like bandsaw or something like that, so that you could cut shapes out of some of the the original sources.
Yeah, but it was very clever.
Yeah, those are cute. There's a couple of people here in Atlanta that do metal sculpture, that are similar to that. So, but anyway.
So I thought that I would show it to you to interest the other people, some different kind of art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's it's fun stuff. So yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about some other things. I don't have a lot to talk about today, but
Yeah, so
I'll share that with everybody, and and then just as a backup, I've got a video that we can watch about. It's called the Riley method of drawing.
Oh, good.
And it would be worthwhile, you guys at least getting somewhat familiar with that, and that would give you an idea of what to look for. So I seem to have lost my Zoom page for some reason. Okay, I've got all these. Okay, but where's the actual Zoom page? Okay, I don't know. Oh, here it is. Okay, it's hiding down there at the bottom. Found you. All right. How's everybody doing?
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Well, guess what? We're going to jump right in. We're going to start rocking and rolling here. I'm going to show you a couple of things, and we'll kind of go from there. All right. And I'm going to start off the dull and boring stuff first, and that way we'll give people a little bit of time to get here. We've got about 13 minutes. Okay. So first thing I'm going to share with you is I'm going to share with you some digital art. Okay. And this is stuff that I did. And this is,
good.
It's kind of like, what it is it's architectural elevations of that house I bought. But I took the initial drawings and photography and stuff that I did, measurements, and I basically did a planned drawing in an application called Adobe Illustrator. Is anybody familiar with that? Adobe Illustrator? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Now, Adobe Illustrator is one of a multitude of applications that Adobe has created. And they primarily serve the graphic arts industry, of which I was a member for many years, which that's how I know how to use Illustrator and also Photoshop. Now, the difference between Photoshop and Illustrator, Photoshop works with what we call pixels, okay? And so a pixel is nothing more than a little dot on your screen, okay? And like on your computer screen, TV screen, anything like that. And it can be one of three colors, right? It can either be red, green, or blue. And out of those three colors, you know, that it lights up with all the other pixels around it, the combination and percentage of it will give you just about every color in the rainbow, including white, okay? So that's called RGB, right? Now, so that's Photoshop. So when you're manipulating an image and things, what you're actually doing is you're changing the color or the value of a series of pixels, you know, little dots, right? Now, in Adobe Illustrator, the difference is that's what you call a vector file, okay? Vector file. And all a vector is it's an outline, okay? So everything in Adobe Illustrator is based on shapes, right? And you can take any of those shapes that you create and you can make them any color you want. But instead of pixels, it's all kind of just a solid block of color, okay? Now you can also create gradations and things like that in Adobe Illustrator as well within those shapes. But everything has got to fit within kind of an outline shape. And so anyway, I'll just show you basically what I did. So these are 3 elevations out of 4 that I'm working on. And, you know, as you can see, okay, so this says the east elevation. So this is actually what would technically be considered right now the front of the house. Okay, and I think I told you guys, because of the way it sits on the street and everything else, this is becoming the back of the house, all right? And what's the back now is actually going to become the front because it's got an odd layout in the house. And anyway, but all of these different shapes, they were all created, you know, by basically, you know, selecting a tool to make a rectangle, a circle, you know, a different kind of shape, and, you know, dragging it and changing the proportion of it, and then putting all these pieces together like a puzzle and assigning them a color so that, you know, you get an image, you know, that begins to look like a house, right? Does that look like a house? Yeah. You can tell there's doors and windows and stuff like that on it. Okay. Now, architects, some architects will use this application, but there are other applications specifically made for rendering architecture. Okay. Now, all of this is kind of flat, two-dimensional stuff. It's not really meant to be three-dimensional, though you can take these vector files and you can run it into what they call a CAD program and create a three-dimensional image out of this, okay? So here's an elevation. This is from the north side of the house. And so again, you know, you see the roof line, the doors, the windows, things like that. And then this is the south side of this house, okay? Now, you know, you can do all kinds of things. You know, these are just architectural renderings. You can make designs, you know, and pattern. Right now, industries that do like fabric design, rugs, you know, different kind of graphics to go on paper, you know, like book covers, things like that. All those things can be created in Adobe Illustrator, and then you can send that to a printer or somebody else, and then they can take and they can reproduce that file, okay? Now, the advantage of doing something in a digital file like this is, let's say that I wanted to change, you know, make a small change, and rather than there being 2 windows here, I wanted to join these together like a larger window. Well, I could just replace that and eliminate those very quickly and make that change. And it would only take me a few seconds to do that, okay? So the nice thing about a digital file is, you know, it's never permanent. You know, you can always adapt it, play with it, manipulate it, change it. The other thing is, if you have to, you know, communicate an idea to somebody who's not in the same city or country or whatever as you can send this file, because it's a very small file, through email, you know, or share it on a Zoom meeting or something like that, just like we are, very quickly. And then, you know, if there are changes and things, you can make those changes to it and then show them the new drawing rather quickly. You know, the process of putting that together is a little bit time consuming, you know, at first, but in the long run, you know, images like this, you know, actually end up saving you a lot of time or a lot of people a lot of time in the publishing industry, advertising industry, design industry and things. Again, because once you have this basic thing, you can take it apart, change it, manipulate it, change colors, you know, on the fly, and do all kinds of things with it. Where if you had to do a whole new drawing of this, you know, and change the colors and things like that, it would take you maybe days to do. And see, you know, now that you've got this, even though it took, that particular view probably took about 2.5, 3 hours to do, okay? But then, see, I can keep modifying it. I can look at this house in every different color combination I want now, see, and play and experiment with colors and things like that to get an idea of, you know, what I want to do with it.
What color have you decided on so far?
Well, it's kind of a traditional white, but basically it's this kind of very pale blue-green or turquoise. You know, that's on the side right now. Can you see the color?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I've already bought that color paint. You know, and then the accent color is going to be gray. So the windows, the trim on the windows, things like that will be painted out of gray, but all of the edging and stuff like that will remain kind of this traditional high gloss.
That's like a battleship gray or a little light.
No, fairly close to what the roof top looks like right there. You know, so it's kind of about a medium kind of middle gray. You know, nothing real dark. So yeah, those that's going to be the basic color scheme.
Hey, Charles.
Yeah.
When you're using CAD, isn't the person on that you would send it to, aren't they able to make adjustments or changes as well?
Once it's converted into a CAD system, yeah, they can. Yeah. Right. This is, you know, I mean, again, you know, this would be good for sitting down and talking to an architect or a client. And, you know, if we wanted to look at different variations, different color schemes, things like that, or make, you know, like minor modifications, like, you know, change the front porch or something like that. You know, you can look at a couple of different versions of that pretty easily. You know, and that way it's a tool, basically a creative tool, so that you can look at, you know, different versions of this very easily and very quickly, without having to do a lot of different, you know, drawings and do repetitive things. Like I said, if I had to, you know, if I wanted to look at 5 or 6 different variations of this and I was doing it traditionally, you know, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and I started doing illustration, you know, this could have been several weeks worth of work, you know, to look at those 5 different variations.
For me,
now,
just drawing it.
right. Yeah. So now, you know, once I have the drawing, you know, it doesn't take, I could make 5 or 6 different color variations to this within 15 to 20 minutes.
Are you gonna, is this gonna be the side where your studio is gonna be?
No, this is the south elevation.
So which,
The north elevation is this one, and the studio is right up here.
oh, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, and that doesn't exist right now. You just have a roof.
Oh, that's something you just drew up there.
Yeah,
Oh, so just the roof is just there flat.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a pitched roof, but yeah. So we're gonna put a big
Dome.
dormer and a porch,
Oh.
and that's gonna be the North Light studio.
Oh, okay, it's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, it should in the end.
Yeah. Is this going to be the front entrance also?
No,
North?
no, the west.
East?
And I
The
haven't.
west. Oh.
Yeah, I haven't done. Yeah, which will be this end of the house.
Uh-huh.
That's the last drawing that I'm doing right now.
Okay.
And so yeah, I haven't finished that one. But basically, let's see. The first drawing we looked at, this was the east elevation, which is
Mhm.
the other end of the house,
Uh-huh.
which will now be the back of the house. See, and right now there's a bunch of windows along here, and the porch is kind of closed in, and there's a set of steps that lead up right here. And there's 2 doors because it was built as a duplex, right? But now it's going to be a single family home. So we're getting rid of the 2 doors and stuff. But there won't be any way in or out of the back here. You know, it's just going to be a porch. I'm closing that off, and the only entry will be on the other end of the house. So,
So is that where you'll have your yard at? In the other end?
yeah. Yeah, well, that's where most of the yard is now.
It's in the front. Okay.
Is in, well, what will.
Oh, what's going to be the front?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Just out of curiosity, don't you have to have 2 entrances for?
I will, yeah,
Okay.
but they'll both be to the back end of the house.
Okay,
Yeah, though,
because
Yeah.
I think code says you have to have at least 2.
right.
I think.
Is there a basement?
No, it's there's not enough of there's a crawl space under there. It's built on pillars or piers,
Uh-huh.
but in some places that gets pretty close to the ground. So there really isn't a basement.
So is there just a lot of foundation that's showing me between?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's the lot is sloped.
Slope.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's up on the top of a hill.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So there's no really level spot, you know, in the yard or anything. And so, yeah, this is, you know, it's the foundation, which was laid in as a brick wall and pillars
Mhm.
or piers. And so there's a pier, I think about every 7 feet, you know, there's a pier.
So this east elevation will mirror the north elevation will mirror the east elevation. I mean the
In the west,
pitch-
no,
yeah,
no,
Well-
it won't.
where your office is, no?
Yeah, no,
The door.
I have a question.
no, they're
Where you have those double doors in your art studio, are
Mhm.
you going to use those crisscross panes, small panes that's harder to clean than if you got the pure glass without the small panes?
Yeah, I like the separate lights. You
Okay.
know,
That's what
you
I-
know, if they break, they're easier to repair a
Okay.
small pane than it is a big sheet of
Right.
glass. You know, but I also like the look of it because it's an old house. You know, the house is the house is going to come up to be 120 years old here
Wow.
very soon.
Oh,
So,
older than you for sure.
oh yeah,
Good to have something older than you.
yeah. The house was built just after 1900. So
Okay, that's great.
anyway.
Um,
So anyway, that's just another drawing tool. Okay.
Now, with this Illustrator, can you use that in your artwork?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, there are people who, like, for example, let's say that I did a drawing of a figure, right? Well, I could import that drawing of that figure into Adobe Illustrator and use it as an element and then create all these graphics and things around it and even add color, you know, to the drawing itself. So there's a lot of, so many different possibilities, you know, with digital art. You know, it used to be the only real downside to digital art was, okay, you know, it was really meant to be viewed on a computer screen or on a TV or something like that. But these days, technology, printing technology and stuff has gotten so well that, you know, you have artists who are creating things digitally, and then they're having them turned into actual, you know, like wall hangings, rugs, bedspreads, fabrics, you know, clothing, you know, all this stuff in the real world. So-
Mhm.
And so, you know, it's, again, you know, it's just a tool, and technology has kind of caught up to the possibilities of using the types of images that you can create, you know, with an application like that. You know, the same thing is true with Photoshop. You know, there's a lot of photographers and things who, you know, they'll take their images, you know, either on their iPhone, or maybe they have a video camera, or, you know, somewhat of, you know, like a traditional digital camera. And then they'll take those images back, they'll manipulate them, you know, balance them, play with the colors, things like that in Photoshop. And then, you know, they can sell images online, but, you know, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll take them and they'll have, you know, take them down to somebody to do what they call a giclée print. And so they'll, you know, a giclée is nothing more than an inkjet printer, but the inks that it uses are archival. So they'll last about 50 years. And so, you know, they'll take that down and they'll have that digital file printed, you know, and then put on a canvas and things. And you actually have, you know, a photograph that you can hang on your wall then.
Yeah, like they did do on my T-shirts. When I
Yeah,
had
you,
my T-shirts.
right.
And
Yeah,
they-
you can do the same thing, you know, with T-shirts and coffee mugs, and you can have images put on anything now. And, you know, anything that comes through a digital type media, once it's in a digital form, you can print it on almost anything. So, and that's kind of the beauty of it at this point, is that it's so versatile what you can do with it. But, you know, even as a, you know, if you do like very decorative pieces of art, things like that, you know, I mean, you can create some really beautiful, you know, images right there on the computer. You don't have to have a paintbrush. And let's say that you're an artist and you have a lot of health issues, you know, like respiratory issues and things like that. Well, you can't work with clay, you know, you can't work with oil paint, you know, or pastels or things like that, but you might like the look of some of those things. And there are applications out there, you know, that really kind of emulate natural media. So you can actually do an oil painting right there on your computer and not have to deal with the, you know, like the solvents and things like that, have the big mess to clean up and everything else. You know, you've got a very nice, clean digital file there. And if you don't like your painting, you know, the way it is right now, you can always come back and work on it because it will never dry out. See, you can always manipulate it. And if you get it to a point where you like it, but you want to play with it some more, you can save a version of it and then keep going, you know, keep manipulating, keep playing with it, and come up with all kinds of different, you know, variations and a whole series, you know, of, you know, digital paintings. So, you know, the possibilities are really, you know, endless. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and the same thing is true, you know, they have digital applications for painting. They also have those very same painting applications, you know, have modes in them where you can sketch and draw as well. And in fact, if you go to like some of these live art classes these days, not that there's a lot happening out there, but it was not uncommon for me to show up at like the Atlanta Artist Center and have several, you know, and these are usually pretty young people, you know, they're in their 20s, you know, show up with their iPads and sit there with their pen and stylus, and rather than draw on a piece of paper, they're drawing right there on that iPad. And it looks just like the drawing that I'm doing, you know.
Wow.
I mean, it has a very similar look to charcoal or, you know, pen and ink or, you know, whatever media they want to work with. And the thing is, you know, they just save it, you know, and then they clear it off and they do the next drawing.
Mm-hmm.
See? So, you know, again, it's all what you're used to. but you know.
One more question.
Mhm.
For artwork, which one would you choose? The Illustrator or the Photoshop?
Well, it depends on how you work, you know. Now, if I were doing more things that were like designs, right? And I wanted to take those designs and I wanted to do prints like on fabric or on cups or, you know, like prints that, you know, for wall hangings and things like that, then I would probably use Illustrator. Okay. But if I wanted to create softer, more photographic-like images or more painterly images, then I would use Photoshop.
Like making clothes, sewing. I like to sew. So you would use Photoshop? 'Cause I
No,
was trying to
no, I
decide.
would, yeah, for sewing things, making patterns and designs, I would use Illustrator. See, because again, you know, Illustrator is more shape-based, right?
Oh, okay.
See, it's all shapes. Like you could do a, you know, like a sleeve, and then the, you know, the upper part of the dress, or, you know, the body, and then the lower part, you know, the dress and skirt, things like that. So you could draw all those shapes out and then color them, you know, put any kind of texture, any kind of pattern that you wanted on that. So you could see it, you know, pretty close to what it would look like, you know, in real life, you know, if it was, you know, a real object, you know, before you invested the time to actually, you know, draw out the pattern and things like that. So, you know, it's a good way of working through ideas and being able to look at a lot of different variations, you know, to find the one that you really like. Okay. All right. So anyway, I thought I would run that by you all. And, you know, I'm not encouraging you all to run out and get, you know, like a Mac laptop and Photoshop and Illustrator.
Yeah, they used to have a Photoshop class at the Benson.
Yeah,
several
they,
years ago.
yeah, they did.
Yeah. It's hard to find an instructor that can come and do that at low cost.
Right.
Work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was an Adobe certified instructor for both Illustrator and for Photoshop.
Oh, well, then you can just do that on Sunday for us or something.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, you know, yeah, there's a lot of demand, you know, to have somebody who has hands-on knowledge of those applications, and they are helpful. But what I will tell you about either one of those applications, or really any digital application, you know, to create art with, you know, Photoshop, you're never going to learn all of it. Never. Okay. There is so much to it. And the thing is, there's other applications out there other than Photoshop, and some of them are free applications that you can download to your computer or your phone that will, you know, do a lot of what Photoshop does, but have much easier interfaces to work with. You know, you're limited. You can't do everything that you do in Photoshop, but, you know, you can do most of you know, the painting, drawing, coloring things like that. And, you know, so there's a lot of choices out there that you could make. Then there's other applications that, you know, are more general. There was a application that I used a lot. It was called Fractal Painter. And, you know, the company that made that, they've been sold now 4 or 5 times. I don't really know who owns them anymore. But that was like, it was like Photoshop, Illustrator, and, you know, like a CAD or a 3D animation program, all wrapped into one application. And, you know, it made Photoshop look simple. It really did. You know, there was so much to it. But the nice thing is, you could take any kind of image that you were creating, and you could take it into any one of those modes and then play with it and manipulate it. and then send it back into, like a vector mode or a pixel mode, either one that you wanted. So, it was pretty flexible. And I really enjoyed playing with it. Plus, at the time, it was the only application that you had custom paint brushes and things that would really literally look like pastel or oil paint or watercolor or whatever media that you wanted to work in. So, that's what, attracted me to that particular application. But what I will say is, if you're going to do stuff like that, you really have to be committed to it, because there's a big learning curve, and the price tag on it is pretty substantial. To get a new version of Adobe's Creative Suite is around about $2,400–2,500.
Woo!
Okay. Now that's got about 10 different applications. And unless you do video and music editing and stuff like that, you're not going to use most of them. So it's not really worthwhile to go out and buy that unless you actually work in the graphics industry and will have to use different formats like that.
Charles, someone told me that there's a free photo editing software for the computer, and it's called www.resizeimage.net, and it's free.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how good it is or how simple or how difficult it is, because I just found out yesterday maybe, or the day before, and I haven't even looked at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot, that's what I was saying earlier. There's a lot of free applications out there. Now, they may not do everything that Photoshop does, like the application you're talking about, like Resize. But, if you're editing a lot of your photos and need to crop them or make them larger or smaller.
My sound is going in and out, and I got half of that.
Okay, I'll try it again. All right. So again, there's a lot of free applications out there, and they may do some of the things that Photoshop does, right? But they may not do everything, right? So if all you need to do is to edit your photos by cropping them and resizing them, changing the pixel depth of them or something like that, that application might do that really well and might be really easy to use, and you don't have to know all of Photoshop to do that. See, you just, yeah. And it may have pardon?
I just downloaded an Adobe Audition to edit a tape,
Mm-hmm.
and it is expensive, but I downloaded it for free, and now they tell me I have 4 more days of my free. Every day I get a message saying that I have how many more days left before my free product goes away.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and they will. They'll hound you to death, because they want you to commit and, spend that $199 or whatever they're asking for it.
Yeah.
And they will. And then, usually, like just before it's supposed to all go away,
Mm-hmm.
it all goes away. And then you got to go to their website and sign in and remember your password and all that stuff, to get your version updated to a full version so you can actually use it. So,
but that's really a good thing, because I had Weight Watchers for 30 days.
Yeah.
And they didn't let me know. I kind of forgot about the 30 days.
Oh yeah.
Next thing I knew, I was being charged for a year because so you missed your 30-day deadline.
Right. Yeah. Now, and if they give you a notification,
Mm-hmm.
and basically say, okay, your free trial is almost over, we're going to charge you, your charge card, because
Mm-hmm.
you know how this works. You always have to put in your credit card information, before anything happens. And then of course they've got that. And as soon as your trial period runs out, they're going to hit you for that money.
Assume you want it.
Right. Yeah. 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 It's actually, and the thing
I
is,
love the fact that they keep telling you, I love that.
yeah. And some companies are really good about that, and it's fairly easy to navigate to if you want to cancel it. Most, a lot of these applications and things like that, they want to make it as difficult as possible for you to find the site for you to cancel, your trial. Because they're counting on you to forget about it and let that 7 days slip by, and so that they can hit you with whatever the fee is. And next year, when the time to renew comes by, they'll hit you again.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, they'll do it for the next, 200 years,
That's true.
whether you're here or not, they'll just keep charging your account. As long as they can get money out of it, they'll keep sucking it out of there. Okay? So,
The only thing they'll save you is that your card expires. You know how when your card expires, that date, when that date rolled around, they can't do it anymore if you've forgotten.
Right. Yeah.
They'll tell you your card expired.
Right. Yeah. That, it's like the real world and the online world are totally different with that. They've set it up on the online world. So, man, they can get into your bank account because you've given them permission,
Yes.
right there, you've given them your banking information, everything
That's
up
right.
front. And so, yeah, they don't feel bad about hitting your bank account.
They sure don't, especially Amazon.
Yeah.
They've been trying to hit my bank account and hit it. I closed that account. They don't know I closed.
Right.
But they keep trying to hit my account when I order books using a gift card.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They're trying to hit my account.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, what you basically have to do is, you got to go back to your bank and you have to have your card number and everything changed so that they don't have your card information anymore. And I know it's annoying, but
It's very annoying.
yeah, but that's really the only way that you can shut that down from happening. If you're on eBay, PayPal, Amazon, any of those, shopping type sites.
Mm.
Yeah.
We need a consumer advocate for the country.
Well, you have them, and unfortunately, those consumer advocates aren't really advocating for the consumers. They're advocating for those companies.
Right.
Because those companies give very large campaign contributions. So it's like, do what you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's take a look at some of the artwork that you guys sent in, and we'll kind of go from there. All right. So we're going to do a little screen share here. Okay. So this piece is from Miss Bernice Washington. She sent this in last week, and I don't know how many of you got to see it, but but it's like every time I look at it, I want to show it to you guys because Bernice has taken an idea of this figure, which is a baseball player, basically swinging the bat. And the thing is, Bernice, talks a lot about her, inadequacy in ability to draw. And yet, at the same time, she's done a very good, what we would call gestural drawing here.
Right.
That shows a lot of action and movement. And so Bernice, you actually did a really nice job on that. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The bat even looks like it's moving.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, that double set of lines or triple set of lines there kind of implies the idea of there being motion, right? So, not a bad little gesture drawing. And, you got the idea, that's a baseball player. And this is supposed to be Hank Aaron, right?
Yeah, he had just died that day.
Right.
And I was trying to get it in before the next class.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Okay.
that's cool.
Yeah. So again, it doesn't take a lot of work. It doesn't take a lot of lines and things. In fact, you know, just a couple of gestural lines and, you know, you can get the idea across of, you know, a human figure and they're moving and, you know, they're not static. You know, he doesn't look stiff here, you know, he looks fluid and kind of like you can really see him, you know, swinging the bat. Okay. So good job on that one. And then she sent in this version of her rainbow painting. Now, I looked at some of the other ones that you sent in, and some of those were more finished than this.
Well, you know, well, I did. Well, it's all the same thing. I didn't like them. I thought the background took too much. Too much interest. I want the gold pot and the flowers to be the interest.
Right. And what we're looking at right here so far, that works pretty well. You know, because all of your sharp edges, your bright, intense colors, things like that are all right here. Everything else.
I haven't finished the flower yet. I just tried to get one of each color in there.
Yeah. But see, everything else is softer and more muted, and here's where your intense color and sharp edges are. So, you know, what you're doing so far is working really well.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, you know,
I actually got there by accident because I thought the other one had too much color. So I said, let me just whitewash it and, you know, so it can dry fast and put, you know, and just redo it. But then when I put the whitewash on, I liked it. I said, oh, that mutes my rainbow and everything.
Right, yeah, it softened everything.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say, you know, to help emphasize that more, obviously you're going to do more work on the flowers. But as you work on the flowers, just take, you know, if this is the bottom of your canvas right here, you know, maybe like the bottom 2 to 3 inches, you know, and get more color and texture and paint in here. And again, it's going to pull this whole part of the painting forward and let the rest of this just kind of fade back, you know, into the distance. Okay.
I did want to ask something too. Is my figure too small, too big? I mean, is it proportional to where it's standing?
Oh, your figure? Back
Yeah.
here? No, no, they seem, yeah, they seem kind of far down the road. So, yeah. And the fact is, you know, if you look at the height of the head, you know, it's somewhere around the horizon line. So that makes sense. Okay. You know, now what I would not do is I wouldn't take this figure and make them a lot taller, you know, bring them up or anything like that. Keep the head about where you've got it. If you want to make them larger, then add to the bottom. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because right now the head is kind of on the horizon line, which is where you would expect it. Okay.
Charles,
Yes.
How do you know it's on the horizon line? Because I just stuck it there.
Well, you know, somewhere right in here, you know, because that's kind of, you know, like the top of your hills and things like that. So that seems to be, you know, pretty close to the horizon line.
Oh, okay.
And you had something, you know, further back kind of, you know, I think like the top of your mountains and things at one point kind of came up to about there. So that would be about right, you know, right across there being the horizon line.
Charles, may I make a comment?
Sure.
I taught creative writing to children, and this picture would be a wonderful story starter for them.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's the thing, you know, Bernice tends to be a visual storyteller. You know, look at almost any of her work, and there's always sort of a story behind it. So, you know, that's not terribly surprising with her. You know, her interest seems not necessarily to be, you know, just the objects that she's drawing or painting. It's actually what they're doing and how they kind of relate to each other. And you see that a lot in her work. So, and that's true with many of you, you know, like Lady, Eloise, you know, I mean, there's a bunch of you, and it's all about, you know, telling a story, you know, telling somebody what's going on. So we're going to move on here to Mr. Bob. Okay. Bob sent in his grouper again.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, the last time you sent in this drawing, you know, the contrast wasn't quite as strong around the fish. It was dark, but it wasn't this dark. And
Good.
and it was kind of a pyramid shape. It was kind of hard. And now he's broken that up so it looks a little more organic. About the only thing I would say to you, Bob, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay. Is, you know, I like the idea of the dark shape, okay? But don't have the dark shape kind of form a halo around, you know, and kind of mirror the same shape as the fish. Change it in some way so that, you know, it's a more irregular shape. And
Actually, on the original painting, there was a sunken ship underneath the fish.
uh-huh.
And so basically I used the water soluble graphite and just covered up the ship. So this is still a work in progress.
Okay. But yeah, in some way, you know, just change the shape so it doesn't follow the same shape as the fish.
Okay.
You know, like, and I'm not telling you what to do, okay? But, you know, like here, you know, rather than it curving around, you know, I might just, you know, bring it up to the top and let it come off the top there.
Yeah.
You know, as a dark shape or something like that. Again, you know, it just makes it a different shape, you know, than the fish itself, so that they're not repeating, and it will feel more natural than.
What is that around them? Is that a rock? Or...
Yeah, kind of like rocks or something in the background.
Whatever you would like it to be.
Yeah, like a coral reef, you know. So anyway, you know, it's just a design thing. So think about the overall design with it.
Okay.
All right. We have June. Okay. June, are you here?
Yes, I'm
Yay!
here.
So, June, that's a really nice self-portrait.
Oh, thank you. I just draw from the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah. And you actually got yourself looking like you.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I can look at that and I go, okay, yeah, I know exactly who that is. Okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's actually a really, really nice little sketch of yourself. Okay. Now, you know, you could kind of get into all the little picky stuff about, you know, do you really want to emphasize, you know, like the lines around your mouth and things like that? I mean, they're there, but, you know, just because they're there doesn't mean you have to put them there.
Okay.
Or that you have to emphasize them. You know,
Mhm.
you can have them there, but maybe just a little more subtle. Okay.
Okay.
See. So
Like
you
the
can make.
dark lines here, make them small, lighter and smaller.
Well, not that, you know, you could have them the same size, but if you just lighten this value, right? So it's not quite so dark, then again, it will soften it. And then you have more focus on, say, the eyes, which is really kind of what you want to draw the viewer to, right?
Right.
So, you know, and that's an easy thing to do. You can just take like a kneaded eraser and just very gently kind of take it back so it's not quite so strong, right?
Okay.
So there's lots of ways,
Thank you.
you know, to play with it and manipulate it, okay? Here's another head. Now, this was the woman and the painting that we were observing and watching this morning, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you did, you know, you captured a good feel for, you know, what she was doing, okay? And, you know, I like the fact that you didn't take a lot of effort, you know, putting in the eye, you know, and worrying about all the little details around the eye. But you've got a nice, you've got a good, strong idea that there's an eye socket and an eye sitting in there with, you know, the eyelid and, you know, the basic structure in there. And that this side of the face is fallen into fairly deep shadow. So, well, that's working really nicely.
Thank you.
You know, then we have your bird. Now, this looks like it's done in crayon. Is it?
This is like what is called this? It's oil pastel.
Oh,
Pastel.
oil pastels. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. They're a lot like crayons.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with oil pastels, it looks like you're working on a piece of bond paper, you know, like regular drawing paper. And if you're going to work in oil pastels, they would work better on a surface that has a lot more tooth to it, like a canvas, or, you know, almost like a piece of pastel paper that's got, you know, some grit and stuff to it, so that the oil pastel can really stick to it and get a fair amount of it down there. Okay. You know.
Oh, okay. I just use the draw paper.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now what you can do, where you're at now, if I were going to take this drawing any further, I would get out a brush and I'd get out some turpentine, or, you know, the odorless mineral spirits, and not the bird, but the background area here. I would wet all of this down with the turpenoid and just blend that out to soften it. And once you soften this, then all the harder edges and lines right in here are going to pop way forward for you. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you have a nice hard and soft contrast going on there. Okay. And
Okay.
and oil pastels do break down just like oil paint with solvent. Okay. Then this is your ballpoint pen drawing.
Yeah.
It looks like either a pond or a fire pit, but I'm kind of.
This is our it's an apartment. Downstairs have the little like park, little park.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and this is a water fountain, right?
Yes. What?
Okay. I've lost my cursor here. I don't know where it is. Where are you? There you go. Okay. Found you. Yeah. I mean, I kept looking at this and like, okay, that's got to be a fountain. Yeah. So, you know, you've got a kind of a nice view from up above looking down on this. You got a few perspective issues, you know, with your chair or things like that. But again, you know, it's a quick sketch, so everything's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. What I would say to you is pay particular attention to like your ellipses, like on the pond itself. Where did it go? There it is. See, you've got a nice shape right here at the top. But then when you get to the bottom, see, it doesn't quite.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, this has got to be, you know, more curved right here. So
Yeah. I know.
okay. Yeah, it looks like it's kind of coming to a point right now. Okay. So, you know, just little things like that. Just, you know, be aware, you know, of the shapes and draw through, you know, and let it wrap around, you know, anything that's curved, you know, emphasize it a bit. Here's your other drawing. Okay. Now, to be honest with you, I like your other drawing of you better. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, because it looks more, there's something about it that captures more of who you are. This one, not so much. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can look at it and tell that it's you, right? But this one doesn't feel like you. You know, the other one feels like you. This one feels like you.
Thank you.
Okay. Here's an interesting. These are Jeans. Okay. Jean Goldstein did a whole series of 3 paintings, all based on the equestrian arts. Okay. Everybody know what the equestrian arts are?
Horses.
Yeah, it's got something to do with horses, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you have like what they call hunter jumper, which are, you know, like when they ride and then they jump over, like, you know, the steeplechases and things like that, you know, hunting the fox. That's one. Dressage is another. Dressage is like getting the horse to dance, right? You know, so it's the movements and things like this. And, you know, just looking at the tack that they're using, I'm guessing this is more of a dressage rider than a hunter jumper. Okay.
Right. So it's actually she's but she has the hunting dogs because they do go hunting.
Yeah. Well, now this dog right here, This is a Jack Russell.
Yes, it's one
Yeah.
of her puppies. They go
Yeah.
fox hunting with those, with the jumpers, with the.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Jack Russells are particularly popular with dressage riders. Okay.
Right.
You know, hunters, a lot of the hunters will, as far as their dogs, they'll have hounds, you know,
Right.
for like fox hunting, things like that. But Jack Russells are actually hunting dogs as well, you know, but they're hunting dogs for like small rodents, like rabbits and, you know, things like that. But how many people have ever been around a Jack Russell?
We had one.
Yeah. You know, little tiny dogs, big personalities, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta
They're-
go easy.
Yeah, they're funny because it's like, you know, they like have no fear, you know, whatsoever. They're just like, you know, they're like ever ready batteries. You know, they just never
You got
run
that one
down.
right. That was a good comparison. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we ran a dressage farm for about 5 years. So, you know, I've been there, done that. You know,
And that's why you got out of it.
yeah, right. Yeah, I had to get. Yeah, we had to get off the farm. You know, you want a life. You know, the thing about taking care of horses is that you know, they're beautiful animals. You know, and actually, you know, horses come in one of two categories. They're either sweet or they're totally crazy and mean. Okay, and there's no in between. Okay, they're one or the other. You know, and it takes you about maybe 3 to 5 minutes to find out which type, you know, you're around. Okay, but you know, they're great animals to be around, but you know, they can be dangerous too. You have to be really careful with them. And you know, we ran a farm. We had about 18 horses, and you know, we had all the different, you know, owners of the horses boarding their horses there. And you know, Susan would go out early in the morning and start taking care of the horses, and you know, that didn't end till pretty close to 10 at night. So it was like a really long day, you know, literally 7 days a week. You know, you never got a break. And you know, if you ever left the farm, you couldn't be gone from the farm for more than 3 hours.
Wow.
That's it, because you had to go back, and it's either, you know, putting horses up, you know, taking them out of the pasture or putting them in the pasture or feeding them or cleaning their stalls or doing something. There was constantly something to do.
Rubbing them down, everything. Anything you can think of, there's always something to do.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, it sounds like, you know, oh wow, you know, what a great, you know, kind of fun life, you know. I guess if you like shoveling stalls and you don't want anything else, you know, in your life, that's fine. Because you literally have to be totally committed to doing that. You know, there's no other way of getting it done. So, but now this is it looks like a male dressage rider, but
That's a female dressage rider.
yeah, I kept looking at the hips and stuff, and it's like, yeah, but she's actually wearing like one of the men's hats.
Yes, they all wear those at the shows that they, when they had them. Well, I say they all, most of them, you know, had that.
Yeah, the little derby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them wear the hard helmet, you know, when they ride in some of the shows. Yeah. Now the men wear like the derbies, you know, don't ask me why. But yeah, they tend to. But now this is a particular, you know, the motion of the horse. You know, dressage horses, usually what they look for is a horse with what they call 4 different gaits, okay, for dressage. And it's just kind of the way they move, you know, so you got to walk, you got to trot, you got to gallop, you know, you got to full run. And, you know, and then, you know, you look at the way they move their legs and what they call suspension, you know, kind of, do they look like they kind of float, or do they bounce up and down a lot, you know? And you don't want them to necessarily bounce up and down. You want them to kind of float.
It look like you're still on it. and
Mhm.
only your knees direct the horses to what to do. You don't move.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't use your hands. Yeah. You're riding from what they call the seat. So you're using your thighs to put pressure on one side of the saddle or another, and the
Right.
horse that kind of steers them and directs them. You
Right.
know, speeds them up, slows them down. You know, all that stuff.
But it's a beautiful thing to watch. I know that, or it is to me.
Pictures are beautiful.
Yeah. If you've got
Oh.
really good experienced riders, yeah, they can do amazing things with them.
Mhm.
And of course, you have to have a well-trained horse too. So
Gosh, these are good.
yeah.
These photographs are gorgeous. I mean, these pictures are gorgeous.
Yep.
Show that closer up. That is gorgeous.
Look
Wow.
at the
This
muscles.
is acrylic, and the other, I think the other
Was
Has-
watercolor, wasn't it?
was it was a pastel.
Oh, it's pastel. Okay.
I said
Yeah.
a pastel. And,
This is
Yeah.
a gorgeous painting.
Yeah. So
Gee.
this is acrylic.
yeah,
Gene,
There's you fantastic behind it. Mhm.
this is when I was able to get around and move. It's been a long time, but I still think about that.
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Now, Gene, did you ride when you were younger?
No, I got thrown by a horse and I never rode again, but I loved them. My
Okay.
neighbors had 4 kids, and they each had a horse, and they, rode every day, and they stopped by, and I talked to them, and I fed the horses carrots and stuff, and talked to them, and they had some beautiful horses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was
Okay.
it's amazing what they can do there. I just those are just reminders.
All right.
Years ago, I worked for a center ring, Ringling Brothers center ring circus performer, equestrian. He and his wife had an act, and he is retired, and he kept he probably had 8 or 10 horses that they kept there,
Mhm.
and one of them was a dressage trained horse, and he let me ride it, and I mean it was like sitting on a sofa. That's just so comfortable. I mean, their legs take up all of the any kind of shock at all, so that you can sit still as a board on top of those things. And it was a lot of fun being able to ride that horse.
Yeah.
But you're right. It takes hours and hours and hours to maintain even a small stable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my ex, Susan, she's, when I met her, she was a writer, and she rode dressage, and she trained people how to ride. And when she left California and came to Georgia, which she swore she would never do, till she got here and found green grass and horse pastures. Anyway, she's one of these people. She's just really passionate about it. It's her love, and she's a really, really good artist as well. And so she does a lot of equestrian art and stuff. And it's a whole lifestyle. And there's so much to know about it. Little subtleties and things, like the equipment and all the little nuances of it. But it's a whole nother world.
Exactly. What is equestrian art? I looked it up. I'm looking it up, and I still don't understand.
Well, when you talk about the equestrian arts, you're talking about, people who ride horses. Okay.
Oh,
Now, as an equestrian art, you have dressage, which is a style of riding. You have Western riding, like, barrel racing and things like that. And you'll have English riding, which is sort of like hunter jumper, So, the people with the red coats who go out in the field and go over the steeplechases and stuff. So, when you're talking about, equestrian arts, that's what you're talking about, as far as the physical sports. But then you have people who are actual visual artists who, do paintings like this. It's all about being around the barn, being around the horses, being around your friends, out trail riding and hanging out on a horse or on a hunt or, you know, in a competition and, you know, jumping or, you know, going through the routine. So there's a lot of people who specialize in art, you know, doing paintings, drawings, prints, photography, and it's all about horses. You know, it's all about, you know, living, you know, that kind of lifestyle.
Oh.
And all I can tell you is that lifestyle is not cheap. Okay. It is.
Correct.
Oh, but it's pretty to watch. That's all I did was watch.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. But you know, I mean, if you're going to be involved in that kind of community, you know, just think, you know, I mean, you know, you're going to have some land. You're going to have a pasture. You're going to have the horse themselves. And depending on the type of horse that you buy, you can't just buy any old horse. You know, if you're going to ride at a high level in dressage, that means that you're probably spending $40,000 to $50,000 on a horse.
Yeah.
You know.
And you won't tell them how expensive it is to travel, because some of them travel all the way to England with their horses and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and then you have to have a horse trailer to trail your horse, plus the truck to pull it. So you're looking at another $100,000. You know? It adds up really quickly. Yeah. So yeah, it's you know, it's kind of crazy and insane. But you know, if you get the bug and you really love to ride and you really love to be around horses, you know, like I said, you know, people just dedicate their whole life to it. So
It's so, and it's really beautiful, but I can only watch.
yeah. And I will say one thing, you know, about the quote unquote equestrian arts. You know, basically, you know, when you're talking about equestrian arts, you're going to see that in the Olympics. And,
Oh, yeah.
and it's very, very different than the world of horse racing. Okay.
Yes.
Horse racing is a whole nother thing. And in fact, most people who really love horses hate racetracks. You know, because there's just you know, it's an almost really evil business. You know, being around horse tracks. So at any rate, moving on, John did another painting of his tree.
Yes, I tried to change the vantage point.
Yes, you did. And it's a much different painting now, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Actually, it's the same painting.
Okay.
Oh, you painted over it.
Yeah.
As you requested, Jane, you told me to paint over it.
Yeah.
But I used my watercolors.
No, I didn't request it. I suggested you might.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, we all know how that works. You know, request,
right.
suggest. You know.
Right.
Anyway. Okay. So in doing that, what are your thoughts about it now?
I think it makes more sense. I think the horizon and the tree work.
Yeah, they do.
What they didn't before.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you know, and depending on how you frame, if you were going to put this in a frame, you know, you could actually crop it, you know, in a little bit at the top and the bottom, and then let that treetop just go right off the top of the page. You know?
Okay.
And in fact, if you weren't going to frame it or you were going to float it in a frame, then I would go ahead and just add a little more foliage and stuff and let it go right off the top up there.
Oh.
You know, because there's no hard fast rule that says you got to keep it, you know, on the paper. You can let it kind of go off.
I get it, because that's what I was thinking too. If I did frame it, I said, well, I don't know if I really would want it, but that's a good idea. To frame it smaller or cut it off or
just add to it a little bit.
Add to it, either. Right.
Yeah. I mean, we're just talking like right up in this area, you know, just let this green just run right on off. And compositionally, I think it would work better than you know, stopping it.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, plus it would make a taller tree.
Yes.
Okay, but you're pretty happy with this at this point?
Yeah, I am now, yes. I
Okay.
am.
Yeah, I'm, looking at it and, I'm squinting my eye down, looking at the values and the contrast. And it worked out really pretty well because, right here, across this bottom part, all of this is moving forward really nicely for you because you've got these, fairly strong darks, but then you've got the contrast with the water. So really in the whole painting, one of the highest areas of contrast is really right in here. And so all of this is moving forward for you. And the other area of high contrast is really right in here, close to where the horizon line and the sun and the sky come together. So, your eye just moves back and forth in there, which is really kind of nice, and it works.
Okay,
Yeah. And I like the fact.
Did you get my other one, the drawing thing I attempted?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah.
Supposedly a self-portrait.
Yeah, right. Well, it was. I mean, it looked kind of like you, You could be a lot more flattering to yourself, though.
Yeah, not as successful as June.
Yeah, but the other thing is, I like how you have your river running back here and just it doesn't go off the page. It just kind of comes in and then goes back in, and you lose it behind the trees and things back there. So you've got a nice sense of depth and an element in there that kind of pulls you back, in space, and that's nice. It worked out pretty well.
Okay.
Naomi.
I'm glad I took Jane's suggestion.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy to say, I told you so, and then you say, well, you told me.
Yeah, let's not push it. Let's not push it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay, so we have Naomi's drawings, and this is with her crayons, right, that she, or colored pencils that she ordered. Naomi, where are you? Naomi, I know you're here.
Okay, I'm here.
There she is.
Okay, that's pencil,
Okay. Yeah.
colored pencil,
Yeah.
but it's on watercolor paper.
Right. Now, these are the water-soluble colored pencils, right?
No.
Oh,
These
are
are just, no. These are just plain old colored pencils.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a really cute drawing, and you kind of captured the personality of the dog. And I like, the fact that you're playing with color and all, and it looks, like there's a lot of motion, and it's kind of very gestural sort of drawing. So, yeah.
He looks like he's talking.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
And that's true in all of these. Because she sent in 3 or 4. But all of these are really kind of real nice, kind of quick gestural drawings, and full of color and movement. So none of them look like a dog asleep on a couch, right? Speaking of which,
You just woke one up.
wow, somebody's got a lot going on back there. Phones ringing and dogs barking and everything else. Okay. I don't know. Whoever that is, can you mute yourself, please? Okay. All right. Jean. Okay. Anyway, so Naomi, yeah, this one, again, kind of real cute, real interest, real interesting drawing. Definitely gets your focus, in and around the eyes. And then you go to your watercolor, and your faces are getting better. Are you here? I don't know. No. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, she's getting better with her flesh tones, and in this one in particular, I like the fact that you get a sense of the light, on the upper part of the head and how, the light falls off as it goes down to the jawline. Okay. Now there's something a little bit quirky about the mouth. It looks kind of like she's biting her lip or something.
Right, right.
You know. Is that you, Naomi?
Yeah, did you recognize that that's me?
Well, no, I heard you talking very quietly. I didn't know whether that was you or not.
Oh, well, what happened was my computer, something's wrong with my signal. But anyhow, the nose is too, not long enough.
Yeah, it could be a little bit longer. Actually, it's a fairly nicely painted nose.
Oh, yeah, but the lip, I see something's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels kind of like she's biting her lip or something.
Yeah, it's just off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
I missed what you said about the other two dogs because my signal went. So what did you say about the other two dogs?
I said I liked them because, they're real active and kind of gestural drawings.
Yeah.
And so they don't look like they're static, or that the dog is asleep or something like that. They, they engage you pretty well.
They were fun. It was fun
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah. And you can kind of tell the breed of the dog too. So, not that that's totally important.
Okay, I wanted to show you the dog. See that that dog is metal, and
Yeah.
he's sitting on my kitchen table
Mm-hmm. Yep, we can see that.
instead of flowers. Yep.
That is so neat.
Isn't that it's so much? My husband loves that. So he bought another one. The
Mhm.
next one, you'll see the next one he bought.
Yeah.
This
Yeah, you got a chef, and is that I want to say that's a chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course he's holding a frying pan, and looks like you've got a lot of eggs in it.
No, it's candy.
Oh, candy? Okay.
That's the little table in my kitchen.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Oh, there are two different pieces. You got a chicken, and it's in the foreground, and
Yeah,
then you
the
got
kitchen
chef
is
behind.
there, and then that's the chef.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Moving on. We got Richard. I don't know whether Richard is here this afternoon or not, but Richard sent this painting in, and it looks like he's working with like a gel medium or, some kind of base, to kind of create an impasto. There he is. Richard, talk to us. Richard, can you unmute yourself?
I say it was supposed to be an amaryllis blossom,
There we go. Oh, okay.
and it
We
got,
have now.
got out of hand.
It got out of hand?
Pretty
Okay.
much a failure.
Yeah, it's an out of hand amaryllis blossom.
And I had some paint left over, so I just stuck it up there.
Okay. All right. So now let me ask you the white right here. Is that all paint, or is that like a medium?
It's all paint,
Okay.
and I made those little scraping marks to try to show a leaf.
Right, yeah, like the different petals. Yeah. Okay. All right. So here's my thought on this one, Richard. All right. I mean, I like the painting. It's kind of fun. If I were gonna do something like this, though, I would encourage you to think about the composition of it. And basically you've got your focal point, really right dead center of the canvas, right? And that's not always a good idea, because what it does is it makes the piece what we call static, so that your eye doesn't really move around a lot in the painting. And so if I were going to do this, I would have you design it in a way to where it's slightly off center, either like up here or even dead center, but higher, so that you stay out of that center area right there. And you would find that that would kind of free up your eye to move around a little bit more in the painting. Okay.
I like the leaves.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I like the whole thing. It's kind of fun. You know, I wouldn't have guessed amaryllis. You know, I knew it was some kind of
It's
plant.
it's on the white. They got overpainted.
Yeah, but yeah, and is this on like a piece of like Bristol board or something, or is it canvas?
White paper.
Paper. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So do me a favor, okay, in all of your spare time. All right. I want you to try 2 or 3 of these. They don't have to be real big, but try 2 or 3 of them and try, you know, spending a little more time really looking at the shapes of the buds of the flowers, and also work on the composition, you know, how you put them on the page. Okay?
I will try.
All right. That's all we can ask for. Yeah. All right. And then we have Susan, and I see her here. So, you know, we showed this earlier last week. So this is Susan's self-portrait. And Susan, you sent me a you know, like a shot of your photograph. I'm going to ask that when you do that, try to, you know, put it on like a wall or something, and then take a picture of it and try to square it up so it's not quite so distorted. Okay?
Okay.
Otherwise, when I draw you, you're going to have a very large jaw and a very small forehead. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Yeah, it's that distortion thing. But you know, you've got a really nice photograph to work with. Okay, and you know it's soft and there's good contrast and stuff in it. And in your drawing, all I would encourage you to do is really look at the dark and light patterns here, and try to follow those. Okay. So if your hair is dark, then try to make it darker, right? Let your skin tones be lighter. Okay. But, you know, try to get some of the contrast, you know, in the drawing. You know, and it will take you a little while to build up the pencil and stuff to get that dark enough if you can. But, you know, just keep working at it. You're on the right track. You just, again, you know, you got to
keep on.
You know, work with those dark and light values. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And then send me a better, you know, kind of more square picture of you. And, you know, like I said, I'm putting together, I don't think, were you here this morning?
No, yeah, I was here this morning. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I had said to everybody was that I'm in the middle of putting together a PDF file about a kind of a step-by-step of, you know, how to draw a human head, but not just how to draw it, you know, thinking about the composition and where you are in relationship to, you know, the view that you have. But then even beyond that, it's like thinking about what it is that you want to say about this person. You know, what kind of person do you think this is, and how do you want to portray them, right? Because how you draw them, you know, the different types of marks that you make, how hard or how soft those edges and things are, will kind of tell a story, you know, about who you think they are. And you can make them look, you know, serious or harsh or mean or happy, or, you know, just by how you handle the material, right? So you can literally tell a story with the drawing. Okay.
Okay.
So last but not least, we have Veronica. Okay. Now, Veronica, we talked about this. Have you done any more with this?
No, not yet.
Not yet. What are you waiting for, girlfriend?
Trying to find it.
Oh, well, you don't have to.
Okay.
You've got your digital image, you know.
That's true.
So get out another piece of paper, get out your pencil, and draw something
Another
like
road. Okay.
Right. But think about the composition. Think about how big those hearts are, you know, in relationship to where you are. Are they closer to you? Or are they further away? You know, really play with it, because you know what you've got, you know, it's a pretty simple concept and pretty simple elements, but you could do so much more with it by just playing with like the scale of things, how the road goes off into the distance. And then the other thing is, you know, do we really want the road running off the top of the page, or do we want to show it going somewhere and further back and away from us?
Okay.
So, you know, there's a lot of possibilities there. So yeah, I'd like to see what you do with it. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Charles,
Yes.
would you please remind us of your email address again? Because I sent several things, but they haven't gotten through.
Mine either. You didn't get mine either, Charles.
Well, I
So-
showed. Yeah, I showed. Didn't I show some of your stuff, Jackie? In here?
Oh, I must have. Did I miss it?
We saw a lot of your stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, today? I sent it yesterday.
Okay.
I sent mine yesterday too.
My self-portrait.
Okay.
Oh, I got
Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was in the mix, but it's evidently not. Here.
Maybe next week.
Yeah. What I'll do is here. Just let's see. Chat. Okay. I'm gonna put my email down here so everybody can get it. Now that we've learned how to do these things. So I remember the first time, you know, we tried doing this on Zoom. You know, I had a sign that I posted up there. Yes.
When I put in CH, your email automatically comes up on my emails to send to you.
Okay. Yeah.
Automatically.
Yeah, the first couple of letters, it probably should. LPGA.gov. Okay. And that's a small c, not a large c. You know, these computer applications, they want to correct what you're putting out there. And the thing is, it's like sometimes you want that small letter. It doesn't have to be capital. So anyway, there it is. So, you know, copy it or, you know, write it down somewhere.
It went away. Put it up again, please.
It's at the bottom.
Yeah, it's at the bottom in the chat.
Oh, I don't have a chat.
Go to the bottom of your page.
Okay.
And right there where it says share screen, next to that is chat and participants and things like that. Just hit chat and a little box will come up and you'll.
Is it whiteboard? Oh, box. But that's it.
No.
No.
No,
Just
that's
tell,
not.
it's SCOGINS at
Fulton County,
Fulton County,
GA.
County, .GA or just
No,
GA?
GA.
Okay.
And then .gov.
.gov. All right.
And it's
Let me see.
Charles. And it's here. It's Charles.
Okay.
Dot my last name Scoggins at Fulton County. Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
All right.
I'll send it again.
Okay.
Also, I have to go again. Excuse me.
All right. Well, we're getting ready to go too, Richard. But hey, have a happy Friday. Have a good
You
week.
too.
You know,
Thank you.
thank you all for coming, you know, as always. And it was good seeing each and every one of you. Okay.
Likewise.
So,
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Be
Have a
safe.
great day.
Bye.
All right. Catch you later.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.